All right, let's do a little drunken Q&A here. And tonight, usually, as usual, when it comes to beer, I only drink like 2 or 3 different brands of beer, or I will only drink 2 or 3 different brands of beer. Newcastle is definitely one of them. Even though the shit they put in here is cancerous to make the color. Not good Newcastle. And Jameson whiskey, which is typically the whiskey I'm drinking. And if I'm drinking any hard liquor, it's definitely going to be whiskey. 9 times out of 10. So, let's get into it. First, sorry, I got so many freaking windows opened up here. Cultured Thug, when are you going to make a video on the collaboration of capital and capitalists with the state in Nazi Germany, especially, and Italy? Do you consider this to be a degeneration of the idea? Question mark. Opportunism? Question mark. A deal with the devil? Question mark. Seems like it deserves your input. All right. That is an interesting question. Good question. This is usually what the commies attack fascism on. As they say, fascism is capitalism in decay. It's a necessary evil, and it's a reality of the modern day. I mean, I really wish, like, we need that today. What are any alternative politics missing from becoming more mainstream? Money. As simple as that. Money. I wish it wasn't the case, but you have to be Machiavellian about these things. How I look at it is there's 2 ways to go about things. The Hitler road or the Cadriano road. Now, while the Cadriano road is much more idealistic and romantic and noble, it doesn't work in real life. It doesn't work in real life, or hardly works in real life, let's say. More pragmatic and more realistic is like the Hitler method, and that is being more Machiavellian in your dealings. Like, I would love for someone like Peter Thiel to, donate a couple million to get a party off the ground, or to a true third position party. I mean, that's what true third position parties are missing. The financing, because it's mandatory. You need it. There's no way to get around it. Unfortunately, that's the reality of the situation. We have to play the hand we're dealt. This is the hand. We need money. So it's a necessary evil. It is. None of these corporate, despite whatever communist, anti-fascist propaganda is out there, none of these corporations had any say over the fascistic leaders, be they Mussolini or Hitler or whoever. Right? The state or the leader always had say over them. But they worked with each other, without a doubt. And it was opportunism. It's something that's needed. It is a necessary evil, at least in the first stages. Hell, if George Soros was willing to donate millions of dollars to some fascistic third position party just to cause conflict in the world, even if he was using it for his advantage, I would still advocate taking the money to use it to our advantage. It's like, hey, we'll take your money and your intentions and beat you with that. That's my mentality. So it's necessary, and I don't think we can get anywhere without that. We need that big time. We need a couple eccentric or idealistic billionaires or multi-millionaires to become on our side. And I think there's a few people out there that are candidates. I think I mentioned one of their names earlier. So it's a necessary evil. It needs to happen. And that's why it happened with Hitler. And that's why it happened with Mussolini. That's why it happens with any fascistic power or third position power that would come into power. Party that would come into power. So it's a necessary evil, and it's opportunism, and it's necessary. And we need that today. One of the major things lacking today is that, because with that, we can package something that can reach the broad masses. And like at this stage we're at now with no money, why do I keep going on about character and beating it to death, the issue of character? Because without money, character is our only strength. Now, with a lot of money, character becomes less important. We could just gain the mass on the ideal of a better society, food on the table, security, nationalism, nationalization of certain things, and getting rid of the Wall Street and the welfare state, of those aspects of the two parasitic roles on our society. Like, you can come more with this broad message to people. But as we're at now, where we have no money, character plays a role. We need men, true men, not males, men, who have desire for change. Desire is a powerful word. It's not, too often, I want this, I want that. It's when you desire something, you go after it. It's like the, think about your politics. Think about the story of Romeo and Juliet now. Do you desire your politics as much as Romeo desired Juliet? And if you don't, we don't. Most of us don't, right? There's certain things we desire. I desire a better future for my children to live in, so I can translate that into my politics. But as far as our desire for politics, is it that strong? No. As Romeo to Juliet? No. And once it becomes like that, on a mass level, on a general level, not just with individuals here or there, we have people willing to do things, sacrifice, move forward. And when I mean sacrifice, your money, your time, maybe even your life, who knows, to go forward. Since we don't have money, we have to play on characteristics and desire of people. That's why we harp on that. But if there is a large amount of money or endless supply of money, then, you can make broader propaganda to touch on the basic desires and wants of people in the general mass. And that's usually security, putting food on the table, etc. Right? So yeah, it's a necessary evil. There's nothing wrong with it. Modern neo-Marxists use it as propaganda against fascists. It's the way of the world. It's what we need today. Like I said, if I was having a fascist organization, I'd take money from whoever to get my organization off the ground. Spite them, even if they're giving me money to prop up a useful idiot, like some Jew in Canada did with the Aryan Nations. I don't know if anyone remembers the Aryan Nations, but their funding came out, and apparently, like, a lot of their funding was by Jews. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these white nationalist sites too got money from Jews, because they need to prop up boogeymen, essentially, right? So even in a case like that, I would take the money just to use it against them. It would be my mindset. But yeah, money's necessary. We have to do it. So, and it's necessary today. I remember there was a guy, and I might have to end up doing this if I ever run for office. There's this guy running in Las Vegas years ago, Winnicki or something was his name, I forget. But like every election time, you see all the billboards and the placards of people running for office. This dude had all fucking cardboard box cutouts with just magic marker writing his name. He's like, and his slogan was, or not a slogan, but a lot of them were, hey, I don't have the money for a real billboard. This is, so vote for me. I was like, hell, that's enough reason to vote for the guy alone, right? And they were all over the place. So, I mean, that's what you're reduced, and of course he didn't win anything, but that's what you're reduced to without the money. It's a political game. This is why I was an advocate in my local scene of trying to get involved in the local Republican scene, because it's for the taking and there's money in the backing. But people don't desire it yet. They don't desire, despite all of this, you get a lot of this. Oh God, you get a lot of this all day, all fucking day, online. That's it. La 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 la. Not much doing when it comes down to it. So that's the reality of the situation. And people try to overemphasize what's going on today, but the reality is stage right now, character needs building. I guess de-Judifying yourself, demodernizing yourself needs doing. But in replacement of that, the quick fix is always money. It's always money. So yeah, it's necessary. It's a necessary evil, unfortunately, especially in a capitalistic world. So yeah, it's a necessary evil. There's nothing wrong with it. They did what they can. They advanced the message. The proof is in the eating of the pudding, as they say. You can see by the policies and what they enacted, where their heart was, and who ran what. And I think that's all clear when you look at what they created, what they idealized to create, and what unfortunately was cut short in many of these countries. And so there's nothing nefarious about it. Like I showed the clip. Was it in my fascist philosophy video of the was it Goldman Sachs person that was telling Reagan to hurry up when he was speaking on Wall Street? Like, get the fuck, hurry up already. No fascistic leader is being told that by any corporate person. They were all subservient to that, and a lot of them bitched about it. As a matter of fact, that being subservient to that. So yeah, necessary evil. Now, another question. Let's see if I find it here. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. That's why. Purity spiraling. Justin C. He says, I'm curious of your opinion on extreme in-depth article. He links the article to a rope culture. It's underneath my drunken rant on prison video, I believe. No, what is this? Drunken rant on Charlottesville, I believe. Hold on, I'm not even sure what he... Yeah, Charlottesville. So he asks, he links this article to rope culture. I didn't get through it. They write, quote, then write their own stuff and quote. I didn't like how it was written, so I couldn't get through it. But he's talking about purity spiraling and pros and cons of it. What's better? He says, however, I don't like the idea of a big tent of alt-right-wing organizations which lead to changing ideas to cooperate with individual parties, which can lead to tolerance to things like homosexuality. For example, some right-wing organizations are tolerated. Could you do a video on this? See, this is the thing I get with some of the white nationalists that stumble across my page. They'll see I'm talking about the Jewish question. They'll see I'm talking about race realism. And then they'll assume, oh, he's white nationalist like I am. He hates niggers, fags, and Jews like I do. And that's not the case. So, despite that, it had to be earned. You had to put steel into someone inside to get that. But despite that, roll your bones, as they say. But it's what we call pragmatism. You're going to have to accept this in American culture. Why purity spiraling doesn't work in that sense, and I'm speaking from a position of experience on this too, because I was a purity spiraling motherfucker for at least 5 years of my life, and I wasn't for 5 years. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't masturbate. I was fanatical. There was a lot of positives to that too. I do not deny that one bit. I was focused and in the zone, but it's so unrealistic because I was a total prick and an asshole. Anyone who couldn't live up to what I was doing to myself, I looked at them as a complete fucking degenerate. And that was a wrong way. I became a complete misanthrope like that. And being a misanthrope and fascist is complete oil and water, complete oxymoron. It's insane. You can't be a misanthrope and a fascist. Fascist has to be embracing and loving of his fellow citizen, and that was a hurdle for me to get over because I was a hardcore misanthrope for a while, and calling myself a fascist, I didn't the cognitive dissonance there wasn't. I wasn't aware of it until I was aware of it, and then I was able to change that. But the purity spiraling is bullshit. That's why you only have this many monks in the world, right, to the population, or whoever else type of class of people go into purity spiraling. Especially these fuckers you see on the internet. Most of them are hypocrites and liars. And from my personal experience, I'll tell you that, because I've met tons of these purity spiraling motherfuckers who are complete hypocrites and liars. You'd be like, oh, you smoke pot, cultured thug, you're a nigger. And then, they'd be drunk off their ass while they're saying that. It's like, well, what are you talking about? So, or you accept this or you accept that, or you're not fool this or you're not fool that. You get the Puritan spiraling from everywhere. It's not going to work. You can't speak to a broad mass of people on a purity spiraling message. You'll just turn people off to that. That's not my opinion. That's reality. That's why nothing can purity spiral. No religion, no strict racial code in America now. In America, Europe is a different story. No, strict abstinence from everything. That's an intoxicant. Caffeine, alcohol, cannabis, whatever is you're saying you need to restrict your body from. It's not a doable situation, and it's. Like I said, I had to overcome that because I was deep into that, and I thought that was the way. And like I said, there were aspects especially to not masturbating, that I just felt fucking powerful. And I still do, I think there's truth to that with the whole no fap fucking no flap or no fap, what the fuck do they call it, whatever they call it, to that whole scene. There's truth to that. Preserve your seed, and release it seldomly, and there is a strength and a self-control in that, because you don't want to be too hedonistic. But I'm a firm believer in Aristotle's ethics of the mean. I believe in moderation, and everything is doable. And as far as homosexuals and other things in a big tent, we need that big tent. You're not going to win anything in this country with a small, fractured, extreme, purity spiraling, even hypocritical group of people. That's not how you're going to win anything in this country. This last election showed us our road. It is through populism and nationalism. You can't get a populist message when you're being when you're into purity spiraling. It's just not a workable, functioning solution to our issues today. And if you think it is, then fucking go do it already. I'm tired of these motherfuckers talking me to death or waiting me or telling me, don't worry when shit hits the fan. Fuck when shit hits the fan. A, I'll grow old and dying waiting for shit to hit the fan. B, once shit hits the fan, it's too fucking late already. So I don't like that solution. I don't like that answer. I'm not accepting it. I want change in my lifetime, and I'm going to take the road to get change in my fucking lifetime. And purity spiraling is just not that. That's the reality of the situation. Now, if you want a purity spiral within yourself, more fucking power to you. But the mistake I made was judging everyone by that standard. Don't do that. That's where you fail. That's where you set yourself up for failure. It made me negative and bitter looking at people like that. And I'm much more in tune physically, mentally, and spiritually with my moderation, with allowing myself to be strict, and then to also be lackadaisical here and there. Oh, that's the ultimate release. Because like I said, for 5 fucking years, I was on the purity spiraling trip. And I was so wound up. Like I said, I was a complete asshole to people in my family and everyone else. Whoever didn't meet my standards, I looked at them negatively. And that's just no way to go through this life and to achieve any kind of cohesion amongst fellow citizens towards a greater good. It's just not. So it's not only in my personal experience, but from what I've seen with every other group that's tried to purity spiral on whatever topic they tried to purity spiral on. It's just not a winning or working method. So I don't adhere to it. I don't see it's on a larger extent. I don't see it's realistic applications. But if someone individually wants to abstain from everything or anything or whatever, more power to you. Now, if you want to be against everyone who's not of a certain ethnicity or race or sexuality or whatever, I just don't see that succeeding in America. And once again, I think history supports that. I don't think these are uneducated claims, or I'm not coming to realizations that aren't supported by a fucking fuckload of data. I mean, it's... So I don't know how many times to stress that. So we have to use what works in the society and use the methods that work and use the methods that has been working in current day society. Nationalism, keeping it, the message, innately European, but not exclusively European. When speaking about America, once again, I believe in ethno-nationalism for Europe. I believe it's obtainable in Europe these days. I don't think it's attainable in America. And I think these people telling you that it is are living in daydreams or just fooling themselves or just purposely leading you down a wrong road and being used as useful idiots to be propped up as boogeymen to pass forth more draconian laws. So, I mean, it is what it is. If someone wants a purity spiral, go for it. If you're going to judge other people by that standard you set for yourself, man, you're just going to be a bitter motherfucker. That's what it's going to come down to. But if that's what you need to do to make yourself better, because like I said, I feel using Aristotle's Ethics of the Mean, I'm more in tune with myself physically, mentally, and spiritually than I was when I was purity spiraling. I really do, because I kind of came to the realization that I had an addictive personality growing up, drinking and smoking pot every day, smoking cigarettes and all this shit. And then when I went completely clean, it was that same addictive personality, just a photo negative of it. It's like, oh, I'm too weak to touch anything without breaking down, so I won't touch anything. And then when I really started making big gains on myself, I realized, oh, I can control myself. I can say, hey, I'm going to drink today. I don't need to drink tomorrow. But if I want to drink tomorrow, I can. I'm not going to drink the next day, though. I'll decide when I want to. And I won't make a habit of anything. And as soon as I make a habit of something, I'll destroy it. So to me, that was more power over myself, and I came more in tune with myself. I was able to speak with and deal with people on a more effective level than speaking down to them constantly, which was a place I was coming from when I was on the purity spiral trip. So in my opinion, from my experience and from what I've seen, it's not a workable method for the mass. If that's what you need for yourself, have at it, brother. Have at it all day long. Make yourself a better person if that's what you see as a better person. But to holding people to that narrative, no. And then as far as homosexuals and all of this stuff, I've made a video on that. You know, the person asking, you should check it out. And it's to me, it's like, you know, of course, the whole gay culture thing needs to go. The whole hip hop culture thing needs to go. All these things need to go. But this doesn't. It doesn't say like, oh, because the hip hop culture needs to go, all blacks need to go, or because the gay culture promotion of it, the degeneracy of it needs to go. It means all homosexuals need to go. These aren't realistic solutions. Let me re-emphasize this, because God damn it, I keep running across these fucking tough talking motherfuckers. Tom Martinez is walking around still. One individual who betrayed a martyr of the white nationalist movement, who betrayed one of the people filled with the most quality that's ever graced the American white nationalist scene. Tom Martinez is still walking around. If people held the ethics true of what they believe, Tom Martinez would be headless, but they don't. So if you think that these same people, they can't even deliver justice to one individual, are going to do anything to masses of non-whites and homosexuals, you are only fucking kidding yourself. And you're living in virtual reality. Come into reality, come into pragmatism. Let's get a little more fascistic, nationalistic, and we can have our cake and eat it too, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So that would be my advice to anyone in the idea of purity spiraling, or anyone in the mindset of we're only going to speak with or deal with this certain tiny fraction of people in this country. It's not going to work, man. We don't have the luxury of that. We don't. It's once again, we're on death's doorstep. I don't know how many times I repeat this. So serious and pragmatic actions need to take place. And all this posturing is not going to serve us in the long run. I'd like to be wrong about that, but I don't see anything that supports that I would be wrong about that. So that's where I stand. So that's why I think about purity spiraling. And I don't know. People may agree or disagree with that, but that's at least the conclusions I've come to. And it's just not sustainable for the masses, and it's not going to be successful in any way, especially these days. Pandora's box been opened. There's a lot of things we're not going to be able to fix that need to be fixed, unfortunately, but there's a lot of things we can fix. You know, once again, if we be a little more pragmatic and realistic about things. So that's it. Once again, cheers, people. Until next time.